Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is I feel like this is upside down. We are going to find the vertex, the intercepts, the axis symmetry, and the graphs for this sucker. And actually, I already started working on this. Look at all this work. But it was wrong because we have to put this in order first, or else everything gets messed up, and I just did all that work wrong and wasted like 5 minutes. So when you look at your equation, make sure your x squareds are first, then your x, then your number, or else it just goes to pits. Okay, so when I put this in order, I have -1 x squared plus 2x minus 2. And now I can find my vertex. My A is my -1, B is 2, C is -2. And now I can do my vertex of -b over 2a, or negative, then my b is 2, all over 2 times my a is -1. So we have -2 over -2. And what the... It's just 1. Oh, that's way better than what I had before. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's my x value of my vertex. Now to find my y, I just take this 1 and I plug it in to the original, to the original equation, or what I changed it to. It doesn't matter. I think I'm just going to put it into the original because I already started writing it. So I have 2 open parentheses 1 minus 1 open parentheses 1 squared minus 2. And then you just do this. You can do it in your calculator or in your head, but it should just be 2 minus 1 2 is -1. Yeah. So my vertex is 1 comma -1. Oh, that's much better than what I had before. Ugh. Okay. Now to find your intercepts, how about we find the y-intercepts first? Because those are super easy. To find the y-intercepts, you just plug in a 0 into your x's, and you can do it into the original equation or the finished one. I don't really care. It doesn't matter. I'm just gonna plug it into the original one because it just helps me remember. Okay, so when I plug in a 0, everything with a 0 goes away, and you just get -2 as your y-intercept. So far, so good. Now let's do my x-intercepts. This is probably going to be a problem, because if you look, it's not like the problem we did before with the parentheses, where you can just, square root, blah, 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 real easy. This one, is 3 terms, which unfortunately means we have to box method or quadratic formula. So when we do the box method or the quadratic formula, let's use this piece that's in order, because otherwise the box don't work and the quadratic formula don't work. So let's use this piece that's in order, and we can either do the box method or the quadratic formula, but I'm telling you right now, quadratic formula will always get you there. Box method will only get you there like half the time on this homework, and then the other half of the time you have to do the quadratic formula. So we might as well just use a quadratic formula and not waste time. So here's my quadratic formula. Now I'm going to plug in the numbers. So I have x equals -2 plus minus square root b squared, or 2 squared, minus 4 times -1 times -2, all over 2 times -1. Then if you remember from here, you just put what's underneath the house in your calculator. So we get x equal -2 plus minus square root, let's see, 4, 8, plus 8. Oh, I feel so stupid sometimes. Okay, 4 times -8. Okay, that should be -4, sorry, all over -2. But then, if you look at this, the square root of a negative number is I, and the square root of a 4 is 2. So we can work with this a little bit. So this becomes x equals negative 2 plus minus, the square root of a 4 is a 2, the square root of a negative number is an I, all over negative 2. I know this is gross. Let's keep going. We can reduce this all by 2. So we get x equals negative 1 plus minus I all over negative 1. And these are my x-intercepts. And just like on that problem we did before, where our x-intercepts weren't really graphable, this one's really, really not graphable. Not only is it not graphable because of this, it's really not graphable because of this I. This I means we don't have any x-intercepts at all. So it's not graphable, like, at all. That's really sad. Okay. Now we just have the axis of symmetry. I feel like I did this wrong. Let me just check real quick. P squared. No, it's right. Okay, anyway, let's graph this. So we found that our vertex was 1, negative 1. That's my vertex. We found that our y-intercept was negative 2. So there's my y-intercept. But I have to draw a parabola now. And because of that imaginary I, we're not going to have any x-intercepts at all. So I'm not going to go like this. I'm going to go upside down. And another way you know you have to go upside down is because that 1, negative 1 is your vertex. That's the hump. And if you kind of suck at graphing it, you can always put in your calculator to check your work.